It's great to be back to starting the season. We've had an eventful off season. It's so much fun to actually get to play in basketball. I think everybody starts talking about, well, this is what the team could be, and you're recruiting, and you're trying to go around and talk. I'm just excited we get to actually play. And our team's been practicing extremely hard, and this being the 100th season of Red Raider basketball, how cool is that? And to be able to compete in the best league in the country in the Big 12 in the 100th season, and I feel like we've got a good quality of depth. Six returners that believe how we're going to win every day and believe we can win the whole thing. And then the newcomers that we have, the 8 newcomers we have on the roster, and the guys that transferred that we gave scholarships to all played in the NCAA tournament at one point. So every transfer that's been a part of our program that we've given a scholarship to has played in the NCAA tournament. So guys are here not because they want to play, it's because they want to win. So just feel like it's ramped up. We're excited to get the season started on the 5th and look forward to being back in the USA.
Coach, where is Devin Cambridge at right now, and how soon can we see him back on the floor?
Yeah, Devin has been released in regards to full participation in practices. We've played in a couple of scrimmage situations, and we actually have played him a little bit. And so we're excited about his progress and would anticipate him having the opportunity to play early in the season.
Just having so many new players on the roster, how important is the first, couple weeks or month of the season just to get everybody build some chemistry?
Yeah, every day you get together is huge in college athletics, especially with the turnover that we have. For us specifically, I think you get in a rhythm in practice where you face the same thing and what you're trying to accomplish. And what you need, honestly, is regardless of what you see, you just need a break in the rhythm of this is what teams are going to do to us differently. These are other people's strengths. And you kind of can get through practices mindlessly, and you're not in the rhythm of preparation game, and facing something different. So I think that's a big learning curve in preparation for Big 12 play, is just that, hey, we're going to face this. This is how we're going to do it differently, and how quickly can we pick things up, and how quickly can we execute them when the games happen. So more than anything, physically, we're prepared. It's mentally, how do you get prepared for the everyday change of this is what we need to do better in preparation for this game.
Based on what you've seen in these scrimmages, are you seeing signs that defensively you could be improved this year?
Well, we've seen signs that our rebounding has improved significantly. In regards to how we've defended the ball, and at the rim, we've been better. How we've defended the ball, we still have got a significant need for improvement in that area. And I just want to really give credit to Joe Toussaint, because Joe was a guy in our program that we could put on the ball, and he had played at the highest level and competed in the Big 12 and knew what it took to stop that initial action of who in the middle floor. We're still searching for that. I do think we've got good pieces for that, but trying to figure out who's going to be our on-ball defender that really can dig in and guard every possession. I think we're growing with that, and that's an area we've got to continue to improve on. But overall, rebounding, physicality, size, athleticism, depth, we've definitely improved.
Coach, heading into your sophomore year as a Big 12 head coach, take us through maybe some of the improvements that you plan to make, that you kind of went back in year one, hey, I could have done better here, or thing that you liked.
The biggest thing about, I think, improving over year one and stepping into year two is, how do we build this so that we win in the end? Every day you got to have a growth mindset. You got to feel like, how do we get better in these individual days? I do feel like having a year where we see these are the ways that we can have success as a group is so important. and that they understand, and not just understand it, but it's their ownership and belief in it. You can't undervalue what it means to have a group that steps on the court looking at each other with the same expectation. Not like, okay, this sounds good, but does it work? I think we know what works now going into year 2, honestly, and we know what doesn't work. And the guys that returned and the guys that are on the roster now, I do see a growing belief in, like, we can really win. And not how do we win. Like, this is how we win. We know that part. Like, this is the path to win, and there's a lot of belief in that. And I think an area that I've got to grow in, and this is where I'm thankful for being at a place like Texas Tech, is we've got the resources. Like, how do we utilize all the resources to build with what we're doing? And there's a comfort level, I think, now with the whole staff of, like, this is the process here, and this is how you use the medical component to it. This is how we build our team. And, I mean, I just love all the resources. I mean, we've got the best practice facility in the world. And I think year 1, you're just trying to figure out how to put your team together. Now I feel like we're taking advantage of all the technology, and just there's a lot at our disposal. And to be able to utilize all of it and communicate it and bring everybody in the same direction in year 2 is an area of growth for us that I think we've made improvements.
Coach, you talked about those returners earlier, and that a few of them jumped on the scene last year. D5, Chance McMillan, Kerwin Walton. You got some guys in the transfer portal, and obviously, hopefully, get to have Devin Cambridge back. Is there anyone, or a couple players more in specific that you're looking, that you're most excited for to see their improvement this year? Just happy to see them play for the first time?
Early in the season last year, I told you I thought we had a great three-point shooting team, and I think our first 3 games were like the worst three-point shooting I've ever been a part of. So it's like I do think this is a longer journey for all of us. I mean, there's some excitement that goes with those first few games that sometimes you don't see maybe what you're really about. And I will tell you, the returners have all made great strides, and we've seen growth with everybody. I'm excited to get Devin Cambridge back out there playing again. I think his ownership and his leadership has really stepped up to a level where he's not out there trying to prove things that he doesn't do well. He's out there actually playing this game in a way that I think puts a lot of force on teams defensively and offensively. But in regard to the newcomers that people haven't seen, JT Toppin has some real intangibles that can allow us to elevate in the Big 12. He's such a great rebounder. He can score around the basket. He's got second jump and great instincts. Kevin Overton has had a fantastic fall so far, and leading up to our games, you never know how this translates, but he's been a guy that I think's been a difference maker for us on both sides of the ball. And then just from a guard play standpoint, it's fun to see Elijah and Christian take on different advantages as point guards and the way we play the game. And then Federico is just such a consistent rim presence, and he's got such a joy that he brings every day. I mean, I'm excited because I think this is a true team where every night you could see somebody different do something really well and lead us. And that is encouraging to have that much depth with the returners.
And finally, I'm just curious, what does Halloween look like in the McCasland household? Is trick-or-treating still an option this year?
Man, I'll tell you what, my wife, when I left the house today, this is not something that I actually embrace completely. This is not my deal because basketball season is the season, you know what I mean? But she handed me a Christmas mug today. And we already have a Christmas tree up in our house. So, like, honestly, the McCasland house is kind of moving toward basketball season. I think one thing October 31st tells you is we're about to start the season. So I think back in the day it was fun to dress up, but more than anything now it's about taking everybody to their games and practices, and let's get ready to tip it off on November the 5th.
Coach, could you walk us through what Bethune brings to the table and what you're expecting on Tuesday night?
Yeah, specifically in regard to Bethune-Cookman, I mean, Coach Theus being such a fantastic coach. I went back and watched a lot of his teams play. I've seen him play historically and really spent a lot of time watching him actually for a short stint when he was at New Mexico State. And they play the game with a lot of confidence, and I know that they're aggressive defensively, they're aggressive offensively. They've got some transfers that have experience, and I think like any team, like you better have yourself prepared more than you better try to overconsume yourself, because we haven't seen them play. And so you just don't know what changes maybe meet. I do think we have a grasp of the tendencies, but man, I think we've really done a significant work on how do we get our team to be where we can face anything, throw anything at us, and we'll be prepared. But I know it'll be a great test, and we're excited about tipping it off, and we know we play a great opponent.
Coach, which Big 12 team does Bethune remind you of?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say, honestly, just because of the roster and what they have. And we've had a lot of changes in our league. I mean, there's a lot of new coaches in our league. And with the teams that we're playing, I wouldn't even try to answer it in that way, honestly. I think at this point, you know, what I do know is they're going to be aggressive, and they're okay with an up-tempo style that'll put you on your heels. And their activity level defensively and the way they attack you, they'll play through the post some, and I know they have great guard play, and I know we'll have a great test to start this.
What's the benefits and challenges of having, you were talking about depth, having such a deep bench this season?
The biggest thing in regard to depth, I think, is your expectation with how hard guys compete and not letting there be a drop-off. I think last year we had to settle in a lot and allow guys to play maybe a little longer at times than what we needed to, and hopefully with this depth we can keep a fresher lineup there defensively so the effort and energy can be what it needs to be over the course of 40 minutes.
So which player surprised you this offseason with the growth they've made?
You know, Darian Williams has continued to grow as a player, and I've just seen a constant he's embracing really this leadership of being a guy that we can count on. I mean, when you look at last year's team, we didn't have him in that Houston game at the conference tournament, and like what a huge miss that was for us. And I think he's just been one of those consistent guys that finds ways to win, and he knows what it looks like of how to include everybody. You know, Darian Williams plays this game not by himself. I mean, a lot of players can see what they need to do and try to communicate what they need to do. Darian Williams has the ability to see what all of the team's supposed to look like, and he's able to help put people in the right spots, and his experience, I think, and his growth as an offensive player has improved just with him going from like a secondary option to now how does he embrace being in a more primary role at times. And man, I've loved that development.
What'd you think of the block party?
Oh man, was the block party awesome or what? That was so cool. This is kind of what I was saying about how is year two growing. I mean, Bryce, Gio, what we're doing here with Wes, and just how this continues to build. I think in the past I was asked a lot of questions like, what do you want this to be? What do you want it to look like? And we kind of cast a vision on this is what we'd like to look, and they ran with it. We just showed up and it was awesome. You know what I mean? Like, how great is that to be able to have an event that has that much involvement and put in such a new place and it go that well. The atmosphere was awesome. And my barometers, usually I go ask the players like, okay, what was it like for you? And every one of them was like, Coach, that was awesome. And, you know, preseason stuff can go both ways. You just never know how it's going to work. You can show up, nobody can be there. You can show up and it can be, I thought this had the perfect mix of engagement with our team, with the Lady Raiders, with the community, with the college students. I mean, right down on Broadway, what an awesome way to tip off the basketball season.
But along the same vein, saw Jazz on a scooter there. What's his status, and is he on? Have you decided what to do with those last couple scholarships that we talked about?
Yeah, we're still working through that to try to make sure that we put ourselves in the best position. And Jazz, we see him out for the foreseeable future. He's got he's dealing with something with his foot, but he's been a tremendous teammate. But he won't be playing in the early part of the season.
And then you mentioned last year the first three non-conference games kind of started off well, and then the offense kind of went very, very cold. Do you think there's are you looking for like a better start at these first 4 home games than kind of last year? Does that not bother you one way or the other?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think anything bothers me at this point in regards to how we start, because I think the finish is just probably the most impactful component of this, and how do we grow and how do we get better. I will say I'd love to see our team's energy and effort competing defensively and sharing the basketball and possessions, and just grading it by how effective are we at doing what we know our team needs to be physically, defensively, and rotation-wise, and rebounding. And then offensively, are we getting the right shots, and are they the right people that we want shooting, and how aggressive can we be, and can we get to the free throw line and put pressure on the rim and make teams defend us without settling. Because I do think we've got a good inside-out attack where we can put pressure on the basket this year, and don't just go settle for threes early in the possession. Even, and then the right ones, though, we don't care when it is in the possession. We want them to shoot them because we got guys that can really shoot. So far the progression's been what we needed to be, and I would just hope we continue to see improvement.
Coach, how much of a jump have you seen from Emily Yalaho over this offseason, and how involved do you plan for him to be?
Yeah, EY is, honestly, his feel for the game has always been something that we've admired in regards to, we know that he's got an understanding that helps not only himself but other people. He's just got to get used to the physical play and the speed of it defensively. And because he's got an inside-out game, his improvement to be able to guard the ball and his activity level and his physicality just needs to continue to grow. I would anticipate him playing some early in the season. How much is going to depend on foul trouble and rotations, but he'll be coming off the bench, and we'll see how well he can play when he gets the opportunities.
With players from last season coming into this season with the success, what type of standards have they set for the new incoming transfers and new scholarships given out?
I just think from the weight room to the training room to our practice sessions, there's just been this is how we're going to win, and everybody's 10 toes moving forward. That's what I will tell you about this group of returners that they've established. We just haven't had many days where practice has been okay. I mean, we've had great practices, and there's a lot of buy-in to winning.
Coach, could you reflect on how last season ended and how that shapes expectations heading into this year?
Yeah, I mean, the moment we lost the NCAA tournament, I think everybody knows that we're not Red Raiders to play in the tournament. We're Red Raiders because we want to win in the tournament. And the whole mindset's been, how do we put ourselves in a better position to play deeper in March and in April?
What kind of culture did you want Texas Tech to be known for, and how are you reinforcing that with your players?
Yeah, I mean, I hope when people watched our team play last year, no matter the score, they knew that we were competing. Like, there was never a time where we weren't gonna play this in a way that was championship effort. And I think there's a daily fight in this day and time where a lot of people are trying to figure out what they're getting. Everybody's like, hey, what am I getting? And I think there's a lot of great resources here at Texas Tech that I'm so excited for. But our heart is, how do we help our team and our program learn really the give component? Like, I've been blessed with a lot. How do I give to other people? How do I give to our teammate? How do I give to people in the community? How do I give back to people what I've been blessed with? And that's been a big part of establishing what I believe is the most important part of this, which is being a part of a team. We're still a team. And as much as everybody likes to talk about the individual things that you get, the accolades, I mean, we've got guys that are on preseason lists of point guards and wings and whatever. And I think our team recognizes that it is about what you give, not what you get, and that's been a big part of growing as a program.
And lastly, Coach, what did your first season at Tech teach you about this team and the program, and how is that shaping your approach now?
The first season really taught me that you can't be consumed with the results, and you got to be about the everyday process of getting better. You can't look out there and say, "Oh, this didn't work out, so this is our team's identity." No, your team's identity is completely tied to how you grow and how you get better from games and from practices, and how do you keep everybody engaged going in the same direction.
Do you foresee any circumstances in which you may play both of your point guards simultaneously?
Definitely. In some of these preseason opportunities, we played Elijah and Christian together, and I think D5, Darian Williams has played some at the point, and Chance has played some at the point, and honestly, we've got some versatile players. I mean, one thing about Elijah, when you look at his stats, he's actually a great catch and shoot guy. I mean, he can make threes from the perimeter. I mean, he's a leading returning assist guy in the country for a reason, but, man, an underrated part of his game is his ability to catch and shoot. And then Christian Anderson can really shoot. So when you look at the lineups, it's like, man, if we can give each other some space and we can put some size at the rim, then we can be very difficult to guard with different lineups. And those two guys have played together, and we've had some really positive numbers from those lineups.
Hey, Coach, when it comes to falling in the first round and you see the rest of the tournament and you see what works well for other teams, do you at all during the offseason, do you take little bits and pieces from things that worked well on other teams, or are you 100% grounded in what you're building here?
No, I think you're always learning and growing. And anytime you build a program and we're trying to put together the best team, I'll tell you what, I love our staff. We've got Coach Linder now with us from Wyoming, who I trust as much as anybody I've ever met in my entire life in a lot of areas, but obviously with basketball, man, I think we've made a huge jump with him being a part of our staff, and then the continuity of bringing everybody back, Achoki Moikobu, Matt Breyer, Luke Barnwell, and then we moved up Chris Nottingham to that position. And then Kellen Buffington, there's just a real growth, I think, with our team and identifying how we need to play together as a win. And we've utilized everybody, I think, everybody's experiences up to this point. And I really believe in our staff and how we're built for this season. And I do think you'll see our team grow as much as any team in the country as the year goes on. And a real compliment to our guys and how I think we're taking everybody's experiences in and to formulate what we feel like will prepare us to win in the Big 12 and to put ourselves in position to win a championship.